Welcome to Out of Thin Air. I am financial planner Canna Campbell, and I am here today to dispel the myth that it takes money to make money. In this new series, through Sugar Mama's Fireplay, we share incredible stories of financial success where everyday individuals have turned the overlooked into income streams, cold hard cash, and even helped build fortunes. And from this, we are defying the convention. Join us now as we challenge your thinking, inspire creativity, and unveil wealth creation opportunities hidden in plain sight. Welcome back, everyone. As mentioned, this is a Out of Thin Air episode. Today we are talking with my friend Charlotte, who managed to make $50,000 during lockdown with a very simple idea, all from the safety and comfort from her home. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on today's episode.
Charlotte.
Oh my God. What did I say, Michelle?
That's it. Yeah, you said Michelle. That's
Michelle,
okay. People always do that.
Where have I come up with the word Michelle? No, why have I even said
You know,
Michelle?
when people used to go, like at nightclubs, I go, oh, it's Michelle instead of Charlotte. So there you go.
What's wrong with my British?
That's all right.
Charlotte, thank you so much for popping across the road to my house to record this episode. When you told me this story of how you made $50,000 during COVID, you were a little bit nervous in sharing me, and you actually said, oh, do you want to hear? And obviously you didn't realise I love hearing stories of people hustling money, but can you tell everyone else this incredible story and where it all began, please?
Okay, so this is how the story goes. My mum, affectionately known as Daisy by her friends, has 30 years of experience as a seamstress. One of her strongest qualities is her unwavering work ethic and a life motto centered around hard work and dedicated loyalty to her employers. However, when the COVID-19 lockdown struck, Mum, who has been working for a tailoring and alteration business, suddenly found herself a lot of free time on her hands. After 4 months of being home, she decided to put her sewing skills to good use by creating fabric face masks from leftover cotton material, which was previously used for making summer dresses and pajamas for her granddaughter. This became her way of safeguarding the family from the virus spread.
That is so cute. So she was literally using like offcuts to create these beautiful face masks. Mm-hmm. All right, so you discovered she was making these face masks. How did you turn this into a business?
Yeah, so she came over one day and there was a sample of 20, which is, which was the initial sample drop. We noticed the exceptional quality of these masks, and my husband and I have always dabbled on selling online. So as part of that, we decided, well, why don't we put it on eBay, which was the platform that we were familiar with, and just see how it goes. And they sold instantly. We priced it at what was market price at the time, probably about $15, and it just sold overnight. And a lot of eBay customers quickly realized that these masks were exquisite in their craftsmanship and common.
Like an origami.
Yeah, well, that was one of the designs. We have multiple different designs, and they kind of picked out the origami design as being the one that they favored. And also they started putting through some of the custom orders. I had someone who worked for a funeral parlor, and she wanted, 20 black masks. So that's where the black origami was actually first born. Wow. Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah. So
kind of in a morbid type of way.
It is a little bit. But the fierce competition on eBay was, there were so many listings. There was thousands of listings, thousands of sellers doing exactly the same thing. So the price was really being pushed down from like $15 to $10. So at the end of the day, we decided, well, that's just not worth my mother's time, right? She spends probably 15, 20 minutes on each of these masks, and that's just not enough money. So I started exploring, researching different platforms and came across Etsy. So Etsy being a handcrafted, platform for handcrafted goods, really fit. Well, I didn't really know much about it at the time, really fit with the masks that, my mum was creating. So that's where, we started. It was a perfect fit, and we decided to sell on Etsy.
So you literally just opened up a store on Etsy and just started selling there. Did you close down eBay and stop selling there, or you just kept them going?
We stopped eBay and then started an Etsy. What Etsy was really good at was actually helping you down the road of product development, right? So it actually led you through creating a shop. So you had to create a brand and create all the listings to do with your product.
Which eBay doesn't do.
It doesn't do it in the same way.
Okay.
Yeah. So this way, that's where the fun actually really began, right? So we focused on aspects like design, the fabrics, functionality, the style, and then actually the brand itself.
So what motivated you to go and do this? Because you are, highly educated, you're very successful, you're financially independent. Like, where did this desire and this motivation come from to do this?
I was in lockdown. There wasn't much else happening, was there?
You were bored.
I was a little bit bored. And this is actually my job is a monetization consultant. So it is about pricing and strategy.
So it's kind of like in your blood to look at everything with a commercial
But this
eye.
is actually a, direct consumer product, which was fun to play with. So I actually found it really exhilarating going through the product development process and actually, doing trials and errors and redefining my product. Working on optimizing the revenue, etc.
Do you remember that moment where you were like, oh, wow, this is actually making quite a bit of money?
Yeah, at the peak of lockdown when COVID was really, we were doing $1,000 a day, which...
Wow.
But, this is a situational price.
Yeah,
situational product, right?
Yeah.
It no longer generates that kind of revenue. But some of the lessons that I've learned from it is invaluable in e-commerce.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so from there, what were the challenges and the obstacles that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
So some of the challenges was actually learning a new platform completely, right? So one of the key things in Etsy, just like eBay, there's a lot of listings and there were a lot of people doing exactly the same thing. So one of the key things is how you actually display your product to look different from everybody else.
Yeah, you've got to stand out, and it's digital media, so you've got to stand out quickly. You've got like seconds to catch someone's eye.
And I had no one to photograph except for myself. And occasionally my daughter, who will let me take a photo of her, and my husband.
Oh,
so I actually did, I figured out the angle of my face and just did all these photos at home.
Considering you couldn't obviously get a professional photographer to come over during lockdown and photograph these masks, did you actually see that as being a blessing in disguise, because the images then actually look more authentic?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think because it's a real person, right? Wasn't wearing any makeup, and I think people, like that.
How much time did this really take? Like, obviously you're at lockdown, you had some spare time. Was it something that you underestimated how much time, or was it actually relatively easy and straightforward?
It took a lot of time. Not only just the cover shots where, it's the photo of the person wearing the mask, showing the mask, then it's actually each of the mask listings. So how you actually display that. I used wooden planks in the backyard as background, and then photographing without the right equipment. So it was the time of the day when the sun was shining.
So you were sort of learning on the go.
I was learning as I go, and it's trial and error, absolutely trial and error.
Did you have fun though doing it?
Absolutely.
Did you enjoy
it was fun, and actually, I had it was enjoyable to actually discover what worked. For me, that's the most exciting part of it, right?
So for you, it wasn't just about money. It was probably
it wasn't about money whatsoever.
Yeah,
really.
It was actually about like learning a new skill set.
But what was really nice is Etsy has this little ka-ching noise.
Oh, I like the sound of this ka-ching.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. It's like it's really addictive, right?
Yeah, it was kind of gamifying your shop.
Yes, it is. Which is it's like ka-ching, ka-ching. So every time I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, ka-chings,
So would you, once the shop was up and running and it was selling, was it a little bit more passive then?
Yes.
With the exception of having to go to the post office and send everything off. Obviously.
Yeah, that was my daily grind, and that was my daily go to the post office and send off all the masks, because it was fun.
But the money would have been so worth it.
The money, to be honest, the money was a nice outcome. It wasn't my focus.
Yep.
And I was actually happy to give the money back to my mum.
Can I ask you some more questions about that?
Yeah.
Because obviously in lockdown, a lot of people were in panic mode, crisis mode.
Yes.
And for you, obviously you're financially independent. how did that feel, being able to say to your mum, like, look, I've taken this
Yeah.
skill of yours and turned it into a business, like, here you go.
Yeah.
Because she was obviously directly impacted by COVID. and
No,
lockdowns.
absolutely. I mean, the money we made, it could have really covered her annual salary, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, but she didn't want the money. She wanted it to go towards Chloe's education,
Your
school
daughters.
fees.
It's so beautiful, that flow-on effect, because now it's just, obviously you've given it to her, and now that money is obviously helping your daughter with
Yeah,
her educational
absolutely.
expenses, which are obviously high, but she's only going to be of more value, Chloe, your daughter, will be of greater value and
Yeah.
service to the world going forward. It's quite incredible. How, like, when you were doing this, like, what resources did you rely on to get this business up and running? Like, were you watching tutorials on YouTube?
absolutely.
Were you Googling things? Were you getting people on Airtasker to help guide you? Like, where did you get help from? And where did you look for advice? Or did you have someone who had an eBay or Etsy store that you could pick their brain? Like, are there resources out there for everyone to use?
Yeah, there is. So the key thing, as I said, was for people to find your listing. So not only do you need great photos that's eye-catching, you need to actually optimize the search engine, right? So it's all about coming out with the right key terms. So I've learned a lot of that from YouTube tutorials. Etsy also provides their own resources to sellers, etc. Lots of hours of just filtering through all the videos and the learnings that they give you, and then just trial and error, giving it a go, redoing all your listings with the right search terms, dabbling in something that I really didn't have much experience in, and just having a go.
There would have been a really refreshing challenge to your brain, as you
it
said,
is.
going now
'Cause
to
it's quite
like
creative.
B2C
Yeah.
instead of B2B in your traditional
Yes.
business life. But it would have been like almost like a new hobby or a new passion.
Yeah, I did.
Just
Yeah.
stimulating a whole new part of your brain and thinking in a totally different way about how to
Yeah.
monetize something.
Well, especially the creative side of it, right? The photographs, the product positioning, the merchandising, and how you're doing that. That's actually a very creative aspect that I don't get to do in my daily life as much.
All right, we're now obviously out of lockdown,
Yeah.
and COVID is a distant memory, thank goodness. Is this business still running?
It's still going, but I mean, not many people are buying masks. I still have some stock for my mum, so that she still has like probably 100 or so there. So it's just online, and it makes a sale every occasionally. And I do actually sell to the US market, because Etsy allows you to go across all different geographies.
Which is incredible. You can access a
Yeah.
much bigger
Yeah, I
client
mean,
base.
half of my customers at the time were from the US.
Wow.
So I have a few, they're dog trainers, like performers, etc., who come back and purchase the silk masks.
It's quite incredible. And so this business obviously is going to continue on running. So what a great little side hustle to have. Now that you've done the most of the hard work, and now it's just a matter of reviewing it and monitoring and making those tweaks and changes.
Yeah.
What a great little side hustle to have on top of your own work, and as well as obviously helping support your mother or helping, pay for your daughter's educational expenses. What would your advice be to other people out there who perhaps they're in financial trouble, or perhaps they're maybe looking for a side hustle to help improve their financial well-being, or get out of debt, or whatever it may be? What would be your advice to them if they have, or they think they've got a potential business idea?
Yeah. Well, I think some of the key things that I have learned through this experience is that selecting the right platform is very important. So that product to platform fit is very key. That's where you're getting the right audience for your product. And having a good understanding of what different sales platforms, the differences are, like eBay is targeted at that sort of low cost manufactured items, and Etsy's more handcrafted, unique products. That's really key, having a clear understanding of your product.
Where does Amazon sit then?
Amazon is a bit like eBay.
Okay.
Probably a little bit more global in some ways. Yeah, but I think that's it's more. Yeah.
It didn't, and that platform wasn't suitable for your product.
I've dabbled in Amazon before, so this is probably where, it's very complicated. Their dispatch process, because they're doing the dispatch, it's very complicated in how you sell their products. So you have to, it is great if you have a great product and you want to sell huge volumes, Amazon's probably the right place. and you have to learn all the ins and outs of their platform, which is not as easy to learn.
So if you're starting off,
Just
a platform
simply,
like Etsy
it's
is a great place to start.
Etsy or eBay, depending on what kind of product you're selling.
And with this, obviously it's not earning the same level of income that it was previously. How nice does it feel that you've got this, like, I guess, diversified passive income stream, or passive to a certain degree, coming in that just, you know, maybe it pays for a holiday, or maybe it pays for the groceries, or,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
like, how does that money give you an emotional comfort? Does it give you a sense of satisfaction? Like, how does that complement your
I love
financial
passive
journey?
income. Who doesn't, right? My ultimate goal is to find a product that sells while I sleep.
Yeah,
So yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I feel really inspired now to, like, go to bed tonight and, like, think up something I can just set up and just sell to the masses.
Yeah, and that's what Amazon does, I think, a lot of times, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You mentioned, and we're going to wrap up this episode in a second, but I'd love to hear you, because you just mentioned you sold a couple of other things online. You and your husband have dabbled in selling online. What other things have you sold?
Oh, I did a lens for the iPhone, a zoom lens. This is while before Zoom was incorporated into the iPhone, I think.
How did you come up with that idea?
I did the Amazon course, and, you know, they teach you ways of actually identifying products that were selling well. This is years ago. I can't remember what year it was. And, you know, we did that whole process and bought this lens from some Chinese website, Alibaba, I think it was. And then it was a drop shipping business through Amazon. We did that for a while. It wasn't.
So you didn't even have to hold the stock?
No, you don't even hold the stock.
Oh my God.
Amazon does it all. So that was when drop shipping was a big thing. However, it probably wasn't the most sustainable product in terms of what iPhone was able to incorporate that functionality into their cameras. So it didn't work that well. But I think I broke even on that. It was fine. I've dabbled in a couple of things like that.
Now that you've tapped into this side hustle business, what other ideas do you have? Like, do you feel inspired now to go and think, okay, well, what's something else I can sell online? Like, has this, like, kind of opened up Pandora's box where you're like, okay, well, I made X tens of whatever it may be in total, I say $100,000 from the masks. That's now, you know, kind of reached its expiry, or it's now just like plateauing at a certain comfortable level.
Yeah.
You know, do you sit there and go, all right, what's next up? Like, has this now
absolutely.
like
I'm
inspired
still
you to keep
trying
going?
to find that right product, right? Yeah, absolutely. Every day I come up with a new idea.
And where do you find your ideas? Like, where do you get inspired? Where do you think is a great resource for people to really dive deep and, like, leave no stone unturned when it comes to these types of business ideas?
I think just looking at how people are doing things and trying to figure out a better way of doing it, or, you know, if they're running their business and try to add, like, what else can they complement their business, which is part of what I do anyway. So I think that's where I'm still looking for the right product and the right final, what do you call it? The right,
The perfect formula.
yeah, exactly. Not quite there yet, but yeah.
So what other things are you potentially looking at selling now online? As like, what are things you've come across with, whether you've decided, you know, that's not right, or like, are you looking at a particular market, or is it you just completely open to anything?
I was looking at stuff like, you know, how detergents in pods.
Yes.
But being able to do that with a shampoo or conditioner, because, you know, I also own Airbnb businesses, which means there's a lot of plastic that gets wasted.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out ways to reduce a lot of that plastic and still be able to provide a luxurious product for the guests that stay.
Well, I may have a friend that you may need to go and have a chat with who's working on a product like that. Yeah. And also it comes from if you can help people in multiple ways, like adding value or helping them save money or helping them save time or giving them, a high quality, luxurious product or service even, they're the sort of key ingredients for a successful business and also a successfully sustainable business.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a very commercial brain is sitting in between your ears. All right, one last question is, because obviously this series is called Out of Thin Air. How much money do you think you initially invested to actually set the Etsy store up? Is that something where someone's got to put aside, say, 5,000 or 10,000? Like, can you do it on the cheap?
I don't think I spent anything.
Oh, so we can tick that box. It definitely was out of thin air.
Yeah, it was in there. Well, I mean, the thing that I had was my mum's skills.
Yeah.
Her ability to actually just sew exceptionally well and create these beautiful masks. And then, the fabrics were from Spotlight. She did her daily trip to Spotlight, which gave her something to do. And the fabrics we bought on often discount, on sale. It was very little in terms of startup costs.
What an incredible return on your investment.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one personal question? How much money do you think you've made in total since starting
The
Etsy store?
Etsy store.
Since you've started actually selling masks?
50,000 or so.
That's incredible.
Yeah, 50,000. In the probably concentrated in that 18 months period.
And the great thing is all these skills that you have gained from doing this business, you can then go and apply into the next magical product you now go and
Hopefully.
sell.
Yes.
See, this is why it's worth giving it a go. All right, everyone, that wraps up another episode of Out of Thin Air. I really hope these stories have sparked your imagination and proven to you that with a little bit of creativity, resilience, and an open mind, there actually really are so many opportunities around us all to make some extra money in our lives. Remember, financial success is not limited by your resources, but by your imagination. So think outside of the square, seize the unexpected, and turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. That wraps up another episode of Out of Thin Air. I really hope these stories are starting to spark your imagination and prove to you that with a little creativity, resilience, and an open mind, there really are so many opportunities around us to make some extra money. Remember, financial success is definitely not limited by your resources, but by your creativity and imagination. So start thinking outside of the square, seize the unexpected, and turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. And as always, stay inspired, motivated, and keep that fire of financial innovation burning in your life. I'll see you next Monday morning on Sugar Mama's Fire Play.